Hello, hello. Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. We're going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that roles could be reversed, because energy is fluid. So just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. This is a general message. And again, it's going to be for Scorpio. And again, whoever resonates with it, you might not be or have that zodiac, okay? You might have it in your chart also where it's not your dominant sign, but for whatever reason, it's that energy is what's affecting you. That energy, that zodiac, that sign is ruling your behaviorisms right now. Who knows? So if you're compelled to watch this video, then always listen to your intuition. Know that your spirit always knows what you need. Your spirit is the God part of self, the higher self, the deity part of self, the part of self that's intuitive, that is going to connect to this reading if you're intuitive and you resonate. So you can trust yourself. Now, anything of any relevance to the channel that you may want to know, such as important links, you can find in the description box. You find my website link, my Patreon link, my other YouTube channel links, my TV show link. You're going to find it all there. Products, Amazon store, all that good stuff. All right. Now, if you want to win a psychic reading, don't forget to do those 3 things, okay? Which is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and you have to comment the word healer. And you'll know whether or not you won if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If you did, just reach out to me at pureenergyhealer70@gmail.com. And definitely keep your phone on because I jump on all the time. I will be jumping on all the time. Things were a bit crazy for a while, touch and go with my husband's health and with life, and just so I'm actually ready to be consistent. All right. Fantasizing. Empty card. I always keep that because an empty card is almost like a person that doesn't have an identity, or it could be, again, just emptiness. I don't know how that corresponds, but we will figure it out. I never take the card out of the deck, but when I pull it, like I said, I just always feel like it adds another layer, another tidbit of information. Quantum koans. Deluded, which is exactly what I was feeling. Someone, again, that you're connected to, Scorpio, is like thinking about you nonstop, fantasizing, imagining everything from being sexual with you to hanging out with you and your friends, and almost like embodying your life. And I say that because this card, like I said, it's never a mistake. If it comes out, it's because it was supposed to, because I use it as like, there's no identity. This is a no identity card. It's like a Joker card. So this could be a chameleon card. Like, again, a person that represents a person that's a little bit of a chameleon, or it could represent someone that doesn't have an identity, a strong identity, someone that doesn't feel connected to really anything or anyone because they're not connected to themselves. And that's because of quantum koans. Quantum koans is, again, a language of spirit. It's a Tibetan word. And it's one of, again, peace, tranquility. It's being able to see the synchronicities in the world. That is the language of spirit. spirit doesn't just work through us, through gut intuition, inner knowing. It works through synchronicities. And when we recognize those synchronicities, we connect very well. And I'm feeling like you're connected to someone, or someone is connected to you, that is continuously thinking about you, because they're not really even happy with their life. They're not just thinking about you as in, I want to date you. They're actually thinking about, like, almost like, I want to date you, I want to live your life. I want to, again, they're deluded. And they're deluded because they're not living their life, because they don't have a life. And a lot of times this happens from trauma. When we go through experiences that are traumatic and we detach from ourselves, we disassociate. So we kind of know what happens, but emotionally we've detached. So we don't know what that feeling is anymore. We might have a hard time processing our emotions, might even have problems being able to articulate how we feel. Definitely, this person that I'm feeling has problems just, they're not emotionally intelligent. And they're not emotionally intelligent because they weren't allowed to feel. They weren't allowed to process what they felt. So this person was is because it never changes. You're born being highly sensitive. It's like being born with a certain color eyes. You don't just automatically change your eyes. It's a dominant thing, and that dominant feature comes from our DNA. So this talks almost about ancestral karma, wounding that needs to be healed. And so the person that's connected to you might go from relationship to relationship to relationship and just never emotionally feels connected. And that's because they're not really ever in the relationship. They're detached and they're disassociated from themselves. So they live more in a fantasy world. And that's mainly because they don't feel comfortable with themselves. So this is the energy. This is difficult energy. And then self-critical. So I also feel like they have a very bad self-esteem. They have a very bad self-esteem. They don't feel good about themselves. So which is why another reason why they're detached. So when we have trauma, this happens. So what about, why is this energy the underlining energy? Now, again, this could be you, Scorpio, just as well as maybe you went through trauma and you detached. And because you detached, you are connected to someone where you feel a spiritual connection. You have a connection with them in the 3D, but you're not interactive with them. You're not, it's all fantasizing. It's all like, and that happens, we can stay there because we're, again, don't feel good about ourselves. We're so self-critical. We're not in the flow of the universe. We're not listening to our intuition, because our intuition is something that we feel, but if we're disconnected from our emotions, we're not going to feel. And if we're self-critical, we're not in the present moment. We're either in the past or the future, which is what makes us deluded, which also is going to trigger more, trigger us more if we have wounds. So again, I don't know whether this is you, Scorpio, or is the person that you're connected to. Take it as it resonates. Only you know your story. So let's look at, I wanted to look at some of the traumas, but I didn't see where it went. Okay. The wounds. I wanted to look at some of the wounds before I move forward, and some of the triggers. Withdrawn. Share your emotions, work on trust issues. It's safe to be open. So again, this person, again, whether I'm gonna just say for purposes of keeping the reading fluid, that it's your person. That so your person is withdrawn, they're hiding themselves, and again, they don't know how to process their emotions. They need to share their emotions. They need to work on trust, and that's why, again, so when we have trauma due to, again, from a family member that might have, again, been very critical, we then become self-critical. We, again, if we grew up with abuse, then we wouldn't be forming an identity. We wouldn't have enough of, finding out who we are time, because understand, if we're traumatized, we're not living life. If we're detached and disassociated, in order to stay that way, we have to have habits and addictions and behaviorisms that are, again, making us not be as present as we should be. And part of a habit, again, and part of a way that we can stay detached is in fantasy land. But that's not how we build a relationship. I'm almost feeling that this person has this very strong spiritual connection to you, so they can feel you and you can feel them, because the love is there, unconditional love. When we meet a soul person, someone, again, that we just feel like they are supposed to be in our life, they feel like home to us, understand, you can't break that. That's a past life connection. And they've come into your life many times to teach, and maybe you have something to heal. Again, also something similar to them, because again, we're magnets of who and what come into our life. So you may be more emotional, but you may not handle your emotions well. You might be overly emotional. And you might need to, again, learn how to deal with your emotions that channel out as anxiety or fear or anger. Working with the emotions. Emotionally intelligence isn't just about being able to embody the emotion and feel it and sit with it, but it's to understand that there's many different layers of it, and that how one person deals with their emotions obviously is not how someone else does. And like I said, but if we're talking that it's a past life, which I feel that, because again, this person isn't good emotionally. They don't normally have emotional connections. They don't know how to have emotional connections. They actually feel like there's something wrong with them. And they do, because, again, of the way that they grew up, and that they never healed. They went from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship, and had superficial surface relationships until they met you. So it's difficult, especially when we have a soulmate, or if it's a soulmate twin flame. Again, any soulmate in past life, is really a deep connection. So that person we feel is supposed to be in our life, but then they have all these wounds here. Understand, those wounds are gonna keep you in a place of limitation. So it winds up being like a karmic past life, because you have to know how to deal with it. And this person's like withdrawn. They're not emotionally intelligent. They keep their life fantasized. And again, they're having a relationship with you in their head. Wanted, step towards their fears. The past doesn't define you. It's okay to get help. So again, that's what I said already, that they need to heal everything from their past, their childhood, because they just have brought this baggage from one relationship into another relationship, into another relationship, into another relationship. And that karma accumulates, and karma just doesn't accumulate, but we become more and more detached. We become more and more from our ego. We don't have deep relationships then because we're too concerned about how we look or about our needs. Because we're self-critical, we don't really believe maybe that we're deserving of it, which trauma will do that. So let's see. I want to see, I'm going to mix it up. And I'm like, I want to see what they feel about you. I want to know that. I don't even want to look at what they did or what they didn't do, or if it comes out, obviously, but I want to know how they feel about you right now. What they're thinking about. They feel about you, what they're thinking about, whatever comes out. Please be patient with me. So I think, again, they're attracted to you because they know that you have like healing energy. They feel like you're very loving and caring. They see that everyone likes you. They see that, again, that you're pretty upbeat, that you take care of yourself, that you, again, your vibe is high. So they feel like you can help them. I'm feeling like they may come to you as a friend because they don't know how to be. But they have feelings for you. And which is a rarity. So this is terrifying, this person. Because they haven't had good relationships in the past, and now they're going to enter into another relationship, and it's like, and they still know that they are part of the equation every single time, obviously, and every single relationship has never really been good. And it wouldn't be if we are detached and dissociated, because emotionally we're never giving our partner anything. It's, again, except for maybe lust or, again, physical stuff, but not that the deep, intimate connection, which we all crave. Our story isn't over yet. Again, I think that they needed to like walk away from you, and we're going to look to see what happened because I didn't want to know. But now with this, our story isn't over yet. Now I'm curious because it's like, all right, well, why? Because obviously this person has thought about you a lot. Because they, again, do not form emotional connections. So this messed them up. And they're thinking about it, 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 and possibly because they didn't treat you well, is what I'm feeling. You're always on my mind. So I feel like they come to you because they go, like, literally feel crazy, like they have to, because this person doesn't know how to process their emotions. They don't know how to normally they disconnect, disassociate, they don't feel anything. It's again this freaking them out, and now they're obsessive about it because you seem as if you don't really care enough about them, because they're saying like, please be patient with me, meaning I know that I didn't treat you very well, don't know what happened, but obviously God says please be patient with me, and our story isn't over, meaning you walked away from them, but mainly because they made you, because of the way that they treated you, but they still feel the spiritual connection. They weren't able to break it. So they're like, you're always on my mind. I don't understand why. And our story isn't over yet. I know that it means something. I just don't exactly know what, because they're not very spiritual. They may be religious, but they're not spiritual. They, again, came from a lower state of consciousness, more of an ego state. Remember, they were not able to have emotional connections. I feel like you're like the first person they ever had emotional connection to, which is terrifying them because It's terrifying them. And see, I'm getting an image of someone that is very, very, very good looking, someone that makes a lot of money, someone that believes that they're a good catch. So again, most people fall all over them, and I don't believe that you did. So they're and then they're detached, and that happens from trauma. So if we didn't get enough love in childhood and we felt betrayed in childhood and then abandoned on top of being victimized, betrayed, um, then understand this is why they haven't dealt with those emotions. They have deep-seated trauma, and that's going to play out as major trust issues, and it has in the past. And but the truth is that most people would try to be extra nice to this person, try to become what that person they thought that that person wanted, what your person wanted, but your person never wanted, doesn't know what they want until they met you, and you're someone that tells it to them straight and didn't put up with their nonsense. You left. I don't know what happened, but it's clear that you left, but there's still a spiritual connection. Yeah, because they were toxic. That's why you left. They were toxic, which obviously they would be. So toxic by gaslighting, saying again that you were imagining things, by acting like they didn't care, by breadcrumbing you, by trying to by lessening this connection. And so they were very toxic. Obstacles. And so there was a lot of obstacles between you and this person, I believe. Feeling possibly because their karma caught up with them. And so their karma caught up with them at the same time as you walked away from them. So again, the time apart, the time apart was good for you and them, because I feel like this made your person think about them, like themselves, not in an egotistical way, but more in a way of like taking a really hard look in the mirror and seeing certain things that need to be changed. I feel like they've altered their life. I think that they changed things in their life. And so now they actually feel different. They feel like they can have a relationship with you. However, like I said, that so many obstacles, so much time apart, and the memory of their toxicity, of how they treated you. Well, I don't know how you feel about that. So that's what I'm curious about. So let's just see, how are you feeling about that, Scorpio? The chemistry between us is off the charts. So it's again that it's again the soulmate past life connection. I'm telling you, if there usually always is so much chemistry. So even though this person again is detached, there's a lot of passion. So again, this is a spiritual karmic test. I feel a lot of times where you're being asked, do you need someone that's going to emotionally be there for you? Are you someone that thrives with someone that is emotionally connected? Because this person is not. They wouldn't be able to be there. There'd be passion, but there wouldn't be, again, support. That's what this is saying. So you need to say, like, again, if you're going to just focus on the chemistry, which, by the way, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And that's why what happens is that things, again, don't work out, because a relationship isn't all about passion. We can't change that person, even though we have such a deep feeling and a connection of when we're with them, even though we can love them to death and even feel that they love us too. But if they haven't healed, there will always be obstacles, because Your person doesn't, because any person that has these wounds, but in this story, your person, again, doesn't believe they're deserving because of what they've been through in the past, which is why they need to integrate the spiritual lessons. Oh, let's just see one more, because it's, again, the chemistry is off the charts, which it's like, and I should really pull from another deck. I want to pull from another deck just to switch up the energy, you know. Well, if you feel this way that the chemistry is off the charts, let's look at some karmic cards, because what for? Because understand, you know, when we have lessons to learn spiritually, the universe doesn't bring us someone that we find ugly, because that would be easy. I don't want to, like, well, I'm not attracted to you. I don't want you around. Yeah, I mean, it's going to bring us someone that we are attracted to, someone that we do feel very deeply connected to, someone that all the boxes are checked off. However, on paper, it looks good, but a relationship isn't based on what's on paper. It's how we deal with life. Oh, too many, way too many fell out. I can't even use this deck now. Can't even use the deck that fell. So it wasn't supposed to use that deck. All right, I'm gonna use a different deck. Okay. So look at a different deck. But sometimes that happens. All right. Reveal. So what I'm picking up is, because the chemistry is so off the charts and there is such a deep spiritual connection, if this person can reveal that they truly, truly do care about you, and by putting the time in, that you would give them another chance. That's what this showed me. Like, reveal to me, like, who you truly are. Prove to me who you really are. Grow. Yeah, should prove to me that you've grown. Prove to me that you've grown. Prove to me that you're different. So you would give them a second chance. And let's see what the remaining message is. Like, what does the universe have to say about this connection? Let's see. What is the universe saying about this connection? Or does it have any messages for this connection? Or is there something that we should know about this connection? As our final message, regardless of what it is. I hate that sometimes. It's like, oh, I don't want to leave it off on that note, but it's like, it has to be. Otherwise, it'll go on and on and on. So let's just see what the universe has to say. My childhood was difficult and it still affects me. I was let down by the people I loved and trusted. So we knew this. This is what that said the whole time. So I would say the final message for you is, because there's unconditional love here. You're connected to this person that has a lot of wounds. There's no denying that there's chemistry. There's no denying that you feel really deeply connected to this person. They did a lot of things that were not, they didn't handle things right. I feel like they undervalued you. They didn't give you, obviously, what you needed. When we'll just leave it at that. We won't even go into the story of what happened. We're just saying it's, again, that they weren't there for you, because emotionally, they're not capable. They're not emotionally intelligent. And so they played games. They were coming more from an ego stance. It's really what I'm feeling. And so you walked away, and that this relationship needed to, like, crash and burn fully. I don't even feel like it was a full-fledged relationship, because I don't feel like they ever really 100% let you in. They gave a lot of mixed messages. So they played games. And then once you walked away, they got stuck in, like, this fantasizing, and they withdrew because this is how they handle things. So they have this awakening that you are important. So and they are going to reveal themselves to you. However, if you want to be with this person, you have to realize again that these wounds are old. They're from childhood. So if you're dealing with someone in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it's again, it takes a long time to recondition. Really, a habit is a month. It takes a month to establish a habit. And so when we have wounds, in order to recondition and heal, it takes consistent effort. And so I believe that the unconditional bond, the spiritual connection, which is so strong that it was really maintained in the 3D, because through the mind, where to almost the point where person's deluded because they're no longer present, because they're withdrawn. It's again because they never had such deep relationship. They're used to having, again, surface relationships. They were terrified. So, but this relationship's divine. It's divine. You wouldn't have this chemistry is off the charts. That wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. It happened because this person needed to heal their toxicity. They needed to look at their toxicity, and they would have never looked at it unless you walked away. That's number one. Number two, I believe that you needed to learn the lesson of forgiveness, because unconditional love teaches us how to forgive. I believe that this person didn't treat you well. I think that they didn't know how. It wasn't purposed. They never were with anybody that taught them. Because if they were attracted, they could have learned this lesson, but it would require the other person to not put up with their shit, to walk away the way that you did. No one ever did. So again, it's making this person look at everything in their life, which again brings them back to their childhood, which is what I said right from the beginning, because there's all this wounding. So when we meet a past life, really twin flame, because that's what I'm feeling, it's because we're going to transmute very deep, old wounds, and we wouldn't be able to do it without the fire element. The fire element, one is passion, and the other, number two, is through creation, the fire element. So a lot of times when there's old wounds, so like I said, you had a parent that emotionally didn't give you what you needed. Meeting this person that is emotionally not intelligent, it doesn't mean that they don't know how to love. They just were never really taught that it was safe to love again. So they needed to heal. And part of healing is to not come from such a logical and analytical point of view, because not everything is that way, and not to just deal with relationships superficially and surface, and really to create oneself so that they can become themselves and they love the way that your life looks. And they find almost as if you would be their muse, because they see how your life is successful. They see how you're happy. They see how you get through difficult times. They see how their nonsense and their bullshit didn't ruin your world like how it normally does with other people, which has kept this person's ego big and kept them in limitation. So this is why this whole connection flips them out. So again, you know what you have to do. If you want this person, you have to continue to keep your vibe high, and they are emotionally going to challenge you because they are not as, again, spiritually evolved. So you may have to walk away a few times, but if you love the person, and I understand that wouldn't be uncommon. with soulmate twin flame relationships. A lot of times that's what it is. There's a runner, a chaser, a runner, a chaser. And it's also a lot of times we get fed up and we're like, I don't want to deal with it. And then what happens is you miss the person, or I love that person, and it makes us change a little bit. Unconditional love makes us change. Our mind doesn't. Mind believes that things need to look a certain way and be a certain way. Because again, the mind is all about survival, which is all about protecting our heart. And really, when we have this type of relationship where the chemistry is so deep and it's a past life relationship, where they're coming into our life, again, to pull out those wounds, and so that we can look at them and really investigate so we can learn about ourselves, and so that we can ultimately have better lives, better, deeper relationships. If you resonated with this, Scorpio, let me know. Leave me a like again. Subscribe to this channel. And if you want to win or enter into winning a free psychic reading, write the word forgiveness in your comment bar. Now, you'll know if I chose you if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. Again, forgiveness. Now, if I did, just reach out to me at pureenergyhealer70@gmail.com, and we'll figure out a time that works best for us to jump on and do a reading for you. Now, understand all readings are done live. This way there's no discrepancies, and it's, again, it's in spiritual alignment with everything, meaning it's what's best for me, what's best for the person that wins, and what's best for the whole YouTube community, because it's out there. And as I said, the reading will always go to who and what needs to hear the message. I'll see you guys all soon. Bye, Scorpio.